Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Live's favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasups.com discount code for 35% off. The discount code is TDL. So pandasups.com discount code TDL for 35% off. All right. So Matt, we're talking about the we're doing a wide receiver and O-line today. So we're keeping it all offense.
All offense, all Georgia.
Yeah, all Georgia. Doing some Lad McConkey. It's just a slot receiver's name. It's just Lad McConkey. It's a slot receiver. And
what do you mean by that? Lad McConkey is a slot receiver's name.
This is, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Just Lad McConkey, I'm thinking slot. It just. And we're gonna watch the film. We're gonna see how that looks, right? And then you're doing Mr. Mims, right? Which I'm not even trying to say his first name. Was it
Amarius, I believe.
Amarius Mims. Yeah, Amarius Mims, who is a monster.
Brandon Thorne basically, I feel like accurately described him as like he was just created in a lab to be an offensive lineman, which is pretty much basically how it was. I mean, I don't know if you saw him at the combine, but when he was walking around, my comparison for him would be like Patrick Ewing's character from the Monstars. He's just like that, like big dude, big massive dude who like looks the part. And I mean, see it a little bit too. Like he's definitely got a lot of stuff you can like from athletic dude, some good strength and whatnot to him. And like I said, certainly has the measurables at like nearly 6'8", I think like 340, carries it really well too. So big dude who can move and move people out of the way too.
Yeah, he is a monster. Let's just keep it real, man. That is a big dude. At the combine, man, he is humongous. I don't know how he 340 pounds that lean. That didn't make any sense to me. But it was just, he's a humongous human, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of the big guys. Has Georgia had their pro day yet? I think they did, right?
Yeah, I don't remember, dude. It all runs together.
I think they did. I think AP actually went to Georgia's pro day, from what I remember. Yeah, he went there.
I think they were one of the first ones, right? Or maybe.
Yeah. So, I mean, they were there. So they saw both guys were looking at in person, and the head coach was there. So he's probably looking at some. Probably looking at Kwame Lassiter too, trying to see what he can do with him.
Yeah.
Lassiter he's slow. I could see it on film how slow he is. So that 4.6 made complete sense. And he did that. He did that at his pro day. So who knows what he would do at the combine? You know what I mean? So is he hurt? He's not hurt, is he?
I don't know. I don't know much about Lassiter, to be honest with you. I haven't gotten to him yet. So
yeah, well, people just run by him all the time. So I don't know how that's gonna work. But there's some other pro days this week. Me and Matt, you didn't talk about it. You got Michael Penix. You had there with Luke Getsy and James Craig were there. They were all at Jaden Daniels, which we expected. And they sent scouts to go watch Drake Maye. So I know they had a private meeting with Troy Fatino, right? Yeah. So. Or Fatinu, so if I said that wrong. Yeah, Troy Fatinu, right? And then they had a meeting with him, a private meeting, and then they're meeting with Michael Penix after his pro day. So yeah, it's pretty interesting things. I mean, they're going really doing a deep dive on Penix and Daniels, right? And they had Michael Pratt, of course, too, but a lot of those things. But what are your thoughts on some of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, obviously, the biggest news coming out of Washington's pro day was Penix running. What was it like? I forget. I think someone said 4.46, and then someone else said maybe 4.56. Either way, like, where was that on film a little bit? But I mean, that's a good time from a guy who's got 2 bad knees, and I mean, checked a lot of boxes, and we at least know he has that tool in his tool bag if he does need to bust it out and whatnot. So that was good to see from him. I think Fontenot, I think you kind of talked about it a little bit with the bench press reps and Telesco. I think if you remember correctly, you were talking about that last time, or have at least in the past, like especially them sending Craig. I mean, they also got Rosengarten there too. So very clearly interested in the UW offensive lineman, which can't blame them. So maybe maybe one of the next guys we look into over here is Fontenot. But yeah, it's pretty telling. I think it's interesting too that like they didn't, send anyone big to Drake Maye's pro day. I don't know if that means anything. Maybe that means maybe they don't think that he'll be within reach for them. But I think we all knew AP was going to be reconnecting with his boy Jaden Daniels over there. So interesting, a little bit of an interesting development. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the big one was James Craig, because James Craig didn't go to LSU. He was in Washington. So they got their eye on Fontenot, which I thought. I mean, he fits that profile, and we talked about that a little bit. Since he has that profile fit, yeah, I figured they would be targeting him. So that'll be interesting if they end up taking him at 13. And there's Michael Penix. So who do they have higher on the board? I think that's how it's going to go, in my opinion. I don't know if they're going to reach for a quarterback, but if the picks in front of them and the highest guy on the board is a quarterback, they're going to take one. If the highest guy on the board is Troy Fontenot, it's going to be him. And that's kind of how I'm expecting this draft to go, just in the first round and probably the second round.
Yeah.
The rest of it, it's kind of up in the air. I feel like that's what he does. He takes the best player available. So, and if it fits a need, the best player available fits a need, he's going to take it.
Yeah.
If the best player available doesn't fit a need, he's going to do something else. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes, man. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting draft, though. I think the Raiders have kept us at a good spot where we're interested. Like last year, they just like, no, we're not trading up, guys. That's stupid. And like they were closer. That's the thing with me.
That is the frightening part. Is like, if you think about it, I mean, what the Panthers had to do to go from 9-1, and I mean 13-3 is probably going to be pretty similar. So we'll be all, but yeah, it definitely seems like as with every, I feel like as every day passes, it feels less and like likely that they're gonna be able to trade up. Like I feel like we get a story even now. It's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be hard. Like I think Vic Tafer even said it this week. He's like, they want to move up into the 3. They're just finding out how damn difficult it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And then the problem is too, like any team that they call, they're gonna have to like that team is going to immediately call the Vikings and be like, hey, this is what the Raiders are offering us. And the Vikings can just outbid them with that extra first round pick and the fact that they have the 11th that's better money. So I actually heard something interesting on Q's podcast, on the Locked On Raiders podcast, where he was talking with Mike Tannenbaum. And on that matter, he was like, if you're the Raiders, the way you have to do that is you can't even negotiate. You have to be like, what's the price? And then don't let them off the phone. Like you have to basically be on the phone with them to make sure the fax goes through, because as soon as they hang up, like I said, they're going to call Minnesota. And if Minnesota really wants one of these quarterbacks, you're almost screwed, where they can just outbid you no matter what. So yeah, that's the challenge of moving up in this draft with how things have unfolded. So.
Well, so maybe somebody in the 20s would just give us a pick like they did to the Vikings. I don't know how he did that. They just the guy's like, here you go. Texas is like, here you go, man. We don't need these draft picks.
Yeah.
So maybe we just find some guy, make a move to 28 or something, and then we have that value to move up again. But or they jump the Giants, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. That's why if they take quarterback, I'm really expecting it to be Michael Penix at this point, or even Bo Nix. Yeah. It might be Bo, but I'm just leaning more towards Penix though. So
yeah. So
because
I'm
the
still
Giants
thinking. Go ahead. I was just saying, I'm still kind of thinking the way it's going to unfold. They're going to take someone like maybe a tackle or whatnot. Maybe they get the tackle to help Penix out, and then trade back into the first. The one team to look out for, and I'll drop this little nugget because we did our BR mock that drops tomorrow, is Miami. It doesn't have many top 100 picks. Miami picks 20th overall or 21st, something around there. So that could be a good trade spot, like what you're talking about, of maybe you can help if you give them, the second and third this year to help Miami get some extra top 100 picks. And maybe that's the spot that you can maybe go get your quarterback and trade back into the first round if it is a guy like Penix or Nix, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. 44-21. Yeah, that could be. I mean, just Flesko doesn't trade back either, which is he's never done that. He and I don't think he's ever really traded up when he's been picking high either. There's no history of that. The one time they traded up was with Kenneth Murray. Yeah, and that was I think they were coming off making the playoffs, I think. with that when he traded back up. So I don't know if he traded back into the first round. I don't remember. Maybe that was
they traded back into the first. I think that was the same year. I want to say that was the same year they drafted Justin Herbert.
Yeah, so I'm wrong then. So, but
yeah. So it would be like the situation I was just talking about, where like they traded back into the first, just not for a quarterback, just flipping the order of the picks, right? Getting the quarterback second in that situation.
Yeah, so, trading up for linebackers is a little crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but
yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
I think Tom Telesco regrets that one. I don't think he'll trade back up for a linebacker, especially in this year's class. But a quarterback, it's a different story.
Yeah. It didn't work out for the Steelers either. The Steelers traded from 20 to 11 to take Devin Bush. Didn't work out. I'm just saying. So, I mean, yeah.
Weird how we're seeing a record low of linebackers taken in the first round recently. Weird how it works.
These guys just aren't really first rounders. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. A lot of these guys can't really play their run and then have to in college, and they get in here and they can't do anything at this point.
Can't do it,
Yep. All right, man. So let's get into this film, bro. And you should go first. I'll go first. I'll do some.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so let's get into some Lad McConkey. All right, we're gonna start off with his route running skills, right, and kind of show just how great he is at this. He's just a crazy route runner, right? I don't know. I haven't got through all the guys, but I'm just gonna probably say he's probably the best route runner in this draft. I'm just gonna say that. I might be wrong, but I love Marvin Harrison, but he don't run routes like this guy. So you can just see how he just sells everything, right? Everything looks the same. So it looks like he's about to run a go, quick stop. This guy's not really sure what's gonna happen. Throw it right to him. Back a little bit. So you're just gonna stop it a little bit, right? And just smooth. Everything looks the same. Every speed.
Go route inside the red zone.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he had 31 in shambles all game. 31 was not having fun. He's wide open here. Doesn't get his ball though. Goes to Bowers. Bad pass by Beck. But this is just kind of shows his running ability. Like he's always open. And look what he does to this dude. I mean, this dude's going this way, and he crosses back over, and he's wide open. That's a touchdown. But, Carson Beck didn't throw it his way, which happens a lot, actually. So here's him versus Terrion Arnold here. All right. So, he has Arnold kind of playing outside leverage. Arnold's playing this out route. He probably knows the out route's coming. I bet he's prepared. He's ready for it. It ain't going to matter because he's going to make it look like a go, right? And then the sudden stop right there, right? The suddenness to stop on a dime like that is why he's such a special route runner, because just a change of direction and he's right into that route on that route flat. So he's pretty special. He's pretty special with this, man. That's like a outside release against zone coverage and stuff like that. You can line him up outside a little bit, and he can do things like this because, I mean, he's selling the go around and he's able to sink his hips, right? And this is full speed. He's not really expecting this. Arnold's not expecting the out at this point. And look at that. He's forcing him to spin. He's wide open. Tells Arnold a little something. So, yeah, it's crazy. So on this one, kind of see he's setting up this safety here. He's gonna get the safety to come this way, like all the way. He's gonna sell that post route, and then he just smooth out of his break. He's wide open. He's not getting the ball until later on. But look what he does with his safety. I mean, this is what you could do with him inside a little bit. He's outside, but he's inside. They're gonna have a inside stem with this, right? Where he basically becomes a slot receiver. And then he's able to put this move on his safety. Him one-on-one as safety is money. It's NFL. I don't care when it's at. You can get him one-on-one as safety. And he runs a 4.39. You can get him on some home runs. All right, so this is my favorite route of his because he's gonna make this dude fall. So I posted this on Twitter. This guy's about to fall. Okay, guys, he's about to fall. And the reason why he falls is because he sells the go. So go back a little bit. You just see it's full speed. It looks like he's running to go. That's what it looks like. Looks like he's about to try to sack you. Looks like he's about to run a go. And then nope. I'm going right by you. Yeah.
His hand
so
too, kind of push the receiver by here.
Yeah, so I'll go back a little bit. Yeah, he uses hands and he pushes the right receiver, the cornerback right by him. Falls. It's wide open. Big play. I kind of just see how open he is from this angle. Just there's nobody near him. There's nobody near him. And it's just consistent, right? And then here he is in his zone. You got this guy falling here. He's got another linebacker falling. So talk about you get him on a linebacker or a safety, or this guy seems like a hybrid type of thing. I think he's a linebacker. I'm not sure. Seems like a hybrid linebacker safety. But you get him one-on-one inside release. This guy's trying to cover him here. It ain't gonna happen. This dude, he's running for his life, and then he sells the dig route, which you'll see here. Quick, oops, sell the dig. The other dude's falling even more. He doesn't know where to go.
Kept that safety high too.
Yeah. It's all nuance with him. It's speed, it's suddenness, speed, nuance, and he's not doing too much, right? It's not like he's not getting in and out of his breaks. It's not really like Odell Beckham or even like Hunter Renfrow when he had that big year where he's kind of doing a lot to get open. Yeah. It's not a lot. It's just all sudden. It's so quick. All right, here's another one. He's another out route here. See him kind of sell that. They give him a rocker step. Get open. It's a great rep right there. And kind of inside release. So basically, you see, I'm pretty sure it's probably a coaching point for them. So he can kind of sell like a in route and then kind of get inside so he can get back outside, because a lot of these teams are playing outside leverage because they run a lot of outs. Georgia does. So you see the little rocker step though, but he's still able to separate because the guy like face masked him and he's still able to kind of get that separation there. It's all day, man, versus off coverage. This is a consistent thing here. So here he is in the slot. This is where he's going to be in the NFL though, which I'll get to in a second when I show you why. But in the NFL, he is going to be a monster inside, and this is a lot of the reasons because he's such a great route runner inside, and he's matched up against these slower players. You could set him up, or you're getting him some one-on-ones with some linebackers. You see even in this one, he's even selling. I don't know why this guy bit on a bet so hard. I mean, there's really nowhere he can go, but he sells. He was, yeah, he thought he was going out, and he's going in. I'm saying he didn't get the ball that much. That's a lot of this film. There's so much film of him being wide open and him not getting the ball. Here's another one. And this is what I'm talking about on the slot. You're going to see him navigate through zone coverage, right? So they're basically getting kind of like a cover 2 look here. It looks like, or even cover 3 because we're getting single high. So we're getting a cover 3 look. And you see where the opening is, but he's able to navigate through the zone and find exactly where he needs to be. I don't know why Carson Beck's not throwing this ball. I mean, if he's already had the ball out, this guy's not able to get there. Just in the NFL, you got to throw that ball. But he makes the right decision here. It's to go here, but it's more because he's late. But if you're on time and you're reading kind of the sail route that he's running, he's able to navigate through zones, right? Get to that press. The guy's not really going to get there by the time that ball's out. Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about, him navigating through zone as a slot receiver. So you see him here again. He's going to get open on this one. Beat 13. Seems like a good route. Another nice little rocker step there. And he's so quick in and out of his breaks too. He's right there for the quarterback. No wasted movement. And that's a catch. You can see it. There's no wasted movement at all. He's consistent. He catches the ball pretty well too.
Yeah.
You know who can't catch? Bowers.
Can or can't?
Yeah, I don't think he can catch it. I'm just
interesting.
Every time I watch a Georgia guy, there's a drop by Brock Bowers, but I'm just saying. All right. He makes like a crazy one-handed catch against this game. But you see here, this is what I'm talking about. Choice route, reading it correctly, and then running a great route to come out of it. So he sells it. He's wide open. All right. And, it's cover 2, so this guy's going to break on it. But, I mean, that's a good route against zone coverage there. But a lot of the issues with him is versus press. As a lot of he's just not that strong, and that's why he can't play outside that much. In the NFL, people they're gonna bully him, right? I mean, we play the Chiefs. twice a year. The Chiefs are going to come up and press the hell out of him, and that's what they're going to do if he plays outside. You see here, a lot of this stuff is illegal, but I'm going to show it. It's not going to work in the NFL, but it just kind of shows his lack of physicality here. Here he gets Arnold one more time. Arnold took it personal. I mean, that's not Arnold, but you kind of see here they got real physical with him at, really quickly at the line of scrimmage. It kind of kept him from doing a lot of his funky stuff. But I mean, one of the closest things you're going to get to an NFL defense is Alabama. So this is a kind of a really good game to watch, to check some of this stuff out. So here he is against Terrion Arnold. It's a great rep by Arnold too, right here. I mean, he is a pretty good release here on the inside stem, but it's when somebody's kind of in your face and getting physical with you, just the wiggle isn't as prevalent. That's the word I want to use here, because even though he gets a little bit of separation, is not enough for like a top level corner, right? Terrion Arnold, he's getting drafted. This is part of the reason that you see that rep. That's a crazy rep in my opinion. Yeah. That's a first round pick rep.
I feel like too he can do a better job of like using his hands, like using the wipers. You see how he has that swim move instead of like trying to knock Arnold's hands off of him. Like in right here too, Arnold's got his like back plate, which is technically illegal, but it's one of those things where you're gonna make the ref call it. Like if you just swat the hand away a little bit to try and get that guy off you can help yourself out. Yeah,
and like it's like situations like this, he's getting pushed out of bounds.
That time he tried it and didn't have any luck.
What's it again?
He tries to use his hands here, but he's not strong enough to knock the actual hands down.
Yeah, so a lot of it is why he can't play outside in the NFL, in my opinion, is because of that. I mean, there's gonna be some times where you can line him up, condense, and he's getting off coverage, but I mean, it's just consistent. I mean, this is a penalty, but it's definitely a penalty, but but it kind of shows my point a little bit. I mean, it's a flag. Let's not get it twisted, but the physicality he has, like, you want him in space. You don't want him trying to play press coverage and stuff like that. And even against DJ James. I don't know. No, it's not DJ James. It might be. Actually, no, it's not. But you still see what I'm talking about. Like it's not a great release package against press, right? He looks like he's trying to do that same swim move, and it's not working. Right? He's trying to do the same swim move, and that guy's just nope. You ain't swimming this. So. Yeah, and then another thing is at the catch point, right? If you're throwing deep balls, he's not a contested catch guy.
Gotcha.
So with the deep ball, like he's got to win. Like at this point in time, it's a great rep by DJ James too. But you kind of want him to kind of use his strength, right, and kind of jump up. He has like a 40-inch vertical leap or something like that. I mean, he's super athletic. I mean, you kind of want him to kind of jump up and make this play. But, I mean, that is against a corner. It's probably like a third-round corner, day 2 corner. So, but I don't know. I don't know, get your hands on that ball because it's not a bad ball. It's good coverage, but kind of want him to make some of those catches. But, yeah, that's a lot, though. That's a lot of McConkey. It's basically his game. He's a great route runner. He can run every route when he has space, but you got to get him in space because if he's getting press coverage, you can't run the routes. Obviously, you saw that. I mean, maybe he can get better there. The courses you could always grow and get better at your releases. I don't know what he was coached to and coached with, but the releases just seemed like he was just trying to do the same thing over and over again. And it wasn't working. So, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seems like kind of has like a pure, just an overall like lack of strength. Like even that last clip that you showed, like I know he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he also doesn't play bigger in a little bit. Like there are other guys in this class that like I think are other receivers in general where like they might not be the biggest dudes, but they can go up and get it. They can handle physicality. Whereas like what you're saying, like that 1 rep 2 of him just getting pressed and jammed to the side all the way to the sideline, like that's not going to work in the NFL. And like in this league, like you're going to face a lot more press coverage and a lot more physical corners, especially if you are fast and you're going up against guys who you have speed on them. They're going to get it in your face and try and beat you up at the line of scrimmage. And you got to be able to at least maybe not get the cleanest release, but at least be able to get their hands off of you and be able to get into your route, which again, can't get into your route. Doesn't matter how good of a route runner you are.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is too, when I watched the film, I was like, okay, you don't have to take him at 44 because I feel like NFL teams are going to see him as a pure slot, and I don't know how high those guys go, right? I mean, I guess the highest pure slot I could think of last year was maybe like Tank Dell, but he went in the second round, right? He traded up, with the Raiders or something like that, and he went like high second, right? And Tank Dell was a little bit more fit to go against Preston. He was, and that's why I like him. He might be there at 77. So, I know this can sound crazy when I'm saying this, and Lad McConkey's not gonna make that far, but you see, if he's getting pushed out of bounds, he's kind of a one-trick pony inside. I'm not gonna say he's one trick pony, but like he's a slot guy. Let's keep it real. He's a slot guy. I mean, he's got to learn to play outside. And I think there's better slot receivers that have a little bit more upside to play outside than he does. So that's why I feel like that he might fall a little bit, and his value might go down a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure.
All right, dude. Let's get into some Mims, man. Let's get into some Mims. Let's watch the big man destroy people.
Awesome. So one thing to keep in mind with Amarius Mims is he hasn't played a ton of football. So that's kind of one thing we'll get into a little bit with the pass pro, just because he's had injuries and didn't become a full-time starter until this year. But he is a pretty damn impressive run blocker. Like, we're going to see him on the backside of a mid-zone. Now, Ole Miss is running a little twist with their line game with their nose and their end here, where the nose is going to wrap around and end's going to slant hard inside. But with zone blocking, like at a high level, what you're basically taught to do as an offensive lineman is take the defensive lineman where he wants to go and just over exaggerate it. And like, that's what we're going to see here from Mims is like, again, he's going to get a hard inside push from this defensive end, and he just rides him on by until, I mean, we're almost at the left tackle at this point. Like, that's a perfect block on the backside of a zone. Like, this creates this massive cutback lane for this running back to hit, and we end up picking up 5 yards. The other thing to back this up too, like, this is a tough look, right? Like, he's got to block this defensive end who pre-snap again has inside shadow on him. Mm-hmm. So he's got an inside leverage, or he has the leverage advantage and whatnot by alignment. And on top of it too, he's slanting hard inside, and Mims still does a great job of just washing him. Mm-hmm. The other thing too, like, if you see right here, like what this defensive lineman is trying to do, you can see that little white stripe right here where he's trying to, like, it's called humping him by to get off the block and try and fight back to make this play. But because of Mims, like if you see his arm right here, like the darker arm, like he's got perfect hand placement to keep riding that guy by, and there's just nothing he can do about it. Part of that too is just because Mims is a massive dude and obviously big and strong. But yeah, that's another spot example of where like his size and strength can just be overwhelming for guys. Gonna get him on the front side of I believe this is mid zone or outside zone, excuse me, this time. Actually, it might be mid zone. Either way. Gonna get on the front side, nice little combo block with the tight end. I think that's Brock Bowers here. But to be honest with you, doesn't really need the tight end's help. I mean, that's just perfect vertical displacement. We're getting about 5 yards. And the one thing I wanted to point out too is, again, Mims is 6'8". He's never really going to be a guy that's going to, get his helmet under this guy's helmet, and especially against these 6'2" defensive ends that you get in college football. Mm-hmm. And even in the NFL, you might see 6'4", maybe you sign a guy that's his height. So he's never going to get his pads down, or at least not consistently. But if you look his hands right here, he comes up with his hands. And what that does, I'll back this up so you can see it a little bit more, is he gets lift. Like, right? Like, it does not matter that he doesn't have his pads lower than this defensive ends at this point, because look at these DNs knees. He's all locked out. Whereas look at Mims. He's still got his base underneath him. He's still got a little bit of knee bend. And that's all because he's, one, has great hand placement to get that under the armpit and get that little lift. And then two, he's just strong as hell. And I mean, you got to be what? I guess since we're talking about height, you got to be 6'2" to ride this, get on this ride.
Yep. Yeah.
So nice zone blocker for, which would be good if Getsy's going to run a little bit if they're going to run zone like they've been talking about. See it on this one. Now, this one, he actually had a lot better, like, leverage at the point of attack. Like, you can see he can bend his knees, like, right now. Like, this time, look, I mean, again, this is a 6'8" dude going against a guy that might be 6'4", and he's underneath him. Now, he does get locked out here, but again, like, you can see where just his overall strength and size takes over. and he's still able to stay attached and keep going on the drive block to get that vertical displacement and create that lane. Get a little view of it from the end zone here again. Also, too, let me back this up. See where his hands are, nice and tight inside. Perfect. Keep driving, keep driving. I like to see him stay a little bit more engaged there, but again, we'll take, 4 yards of vertical displacement every single time. Moving on to him in pass pro. One thing that you'll kind of notice that I think he's really good at is riding these guys by and riding them by on the high side of the rush. Again, perfect hand placement right here. Boom. We're just riding them by, creating a nice little pocket. Also has pretty good feet too. Like this defensive end, I think that's Cedric Johnson. Maybe not. I think that one's Cedric. Never mind. But anyway, like you can see, like he consistently is able to get to the spot and beat the edge rusher on his vertical sets, which is huge. He's got good feet. Now, one thing to kind of nitpick him on that I think he can work on at the next level is, like you can see here, he's a little quick to open the gate and turn his hips towards the sideline. And what that does is, if this guy is going to work an inside move, like an inside stick in the NFL, he's going to recognize this, put this outside foot in the ground, and then beat him on the inside. And that's something he still struggles with a little bit, and probably one of his biggest weaknesses in pass protection. So I think that's something that he can get a little bit more patient with. And again, it kind of comes with experience, kind of a feel of when to open the gate. Again, he's been banged up this past year, didn't start the year before until like the end of the year. So I think one area that he can get a little bit better on. See a similar rep here, same kind of thing. Perfect hand placement. And I think this one too is a good example of his get off. Like you can see, compare him to the left tackle here on this get off. He's already a good, maybe full step and a half into his set before this guy, before anyone else is. Again, that kind of speaks to a little bit of what he can do off the ball. And I mean, we've seen that in the NFL this year. Some of the best tackles are really good at timing up the snap so they can get the advantage.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about a little bit too, where I think more experience, he can get better with not opening the gate. Like now we're opening the gate when we're making contact. Now we have control of the block and we can start to ride this guy by now that he's committed to the outside. So that's where I'll get a little bit more encouraged, is he definitely got better at those types of things as the year went on. This time we're going to get an inside rush. You see a little bit of what I'm talking about. Not the greatest athleticism. Like if this defensive end who's a little bit quicker, I think he kind of loses this rep. But at the very least, what I do like about it is he's got his hands, one hand on the V of the neck, the other hand outside here on the outside arm of the pass rusher to pin that inside. And he's able to wash him inside and actually ends up helping out his teammate who gets beat off the snap and picking that other rusher. So good rep. But again, I think it kind of also highlights where might be a little deficient against a quicker pass rusher in the NFL. I think he might lose this rep, but still like to see him, like to see the hand placement and everything that he does. Another area and that I think he got a lot better at during the season was picking up stunts. Like we'll see a couple here where he picks them up perfectly. I think Tennessee's going to run an ET stunt, and he's going to pick that up. It's perfect. Let me back this up. So the other thing I wanted to point out is as soon as this defensive end or this outside linebacker starts working and looping back inside, look where his eyes go. I mean, he's already about to engage with this defensive tackle like he knew it was coming. Now, you watch this game against South Carolina, didn't quite have as much success at this, but against Tennessee, he got a lot better at it. I saved the best clip for last year. Posted this one on Twitter. You know it's coming. There's gonna be another stunt. This is gonna be a different one though. It's gonna be a TE where this, technically outside linebacker that's standing up, but where the tackle is actually gonna come first. Or excuse me, this is the ET. I'm screwing up my letters. But yeah, you can see it again. I mean, I just love this because this is what I call like dirty dancing. Like this is Patrick Swayze. He makes contact, gets some lift, and then we put the guy on the ground.
And then you got the end.
Yeah, and then exactly. And then he comes up and boom, picks up that end. Now the ball's out, so it doesn't really matter, but like you can see it like perfect. Like this is perfect. And on top of it, we get a highlight play because that guy did not have fun on this rep. Let's put it that way.
No, he didn't.
No, like this, like we should put this in this is the old put that in Louvre or whatever that the museum out in France is. Like that's perfect. Just boom. But yeah, you can see a little bit again. Guy that's massive, has good feet, has some impressive strength, and has experience playing right tackle too, which I think is huge and kind of underrated when we go over this draft process, because Raiders are obviously fine at left, and if they want a guy like Mims at right, then he could be a good target. Do think he's probably more of like a picking like the 20s. So maybe if they want to trade back, or maybe if they do get Penix, I don't know if they want to swing to get another right tackle option and trade back into the first, something like that. But definitely a dude who's intriguing. Just the biggest thing that worries me is hasn't played a ton of football. It's only, I think PFF has him at like a little bit more than 800 snaps over 3 years, which is not much at all. Usually, like Colton Miller this past year, no, not this past year because he missed some games, but Colton Miller in the past has had 1,000 snaps in a season. Just for a little bit of perspective. Like he's just very raw. Definitely some stuff that he can work on, but those tools, man, those tools are nice.
So let me ask you this. I mean, do you think there's a chance that maybe he falls further than we think, just because of those flaws, and like some of the other tackles a little bit more seasoned? Like you might see like Rosengarten go before him, and maybe some of those guys. I bet that might be a possibility. He might actually fall a little bit too.
Yeah, I could see him sliding a little bit just because of like we said, doesn't have a ton of experience, and maybe you don't want to start him right away, or at least in that like have him as your starter going into training camp. And again, this tackle class, there's a lot of guys that can play and a lot of guys that have more experience than him. So maybe, someone like a Tyler Guyton sneaks up in front of him, maybe even like Kingsley Suamataia or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys that could definitely like, maybe the league is higher on him, or leagues are higher on those guys than he is, just because he doesn't have as much experience. So yeah, I could see that a little bit, especially if you're looking for more of a sure thing as a starter. That's kind of where maybe if you're the Raiders, you get a little bit weary of him, because again, he just doesn't have that ton of experience. That if you need a guy you're confident in that you're gonna be able to start at right tackle right away, he's maybe not the exact guy you're looking for. He's maybe a guy that you're hoping for that would be a great player, the year after or 2 years from now, when he gets a little bit more playing time and gets those little nuanced things down. As far as like a JC Latham, who's another right tackle prospect who I know you've gone over before, like it's not close, because JC Latham has the size, has the feet, has everything else, and he has the experience, and he's played enough football. Whereas again, Mims just hasn't. Plus Mims, he sprained, I don't know if it was the same one, but I think he had 2 sprained ankles last year, had surgery on it earlier in the year, and ended the year in the SEC championship with another ankle injury. So he's got a little bit of a medical problem issue too. So those are all things to keep in mind. But it's funny. Like I say all this and I go over all the tape, and I'm like, but those traits. But the fact he's 6'8" and runs like a 5 flat, like it's 6'8", 340 and runs like a 5 flat. I'm like, well, maybe, if you're James Craig, you're like, you flip on the tape and you're like, there's some stuff I don't like. Then you look up his testing numbers and his measurements, and you're like, that wasn't so bad.
It wasn't that bad. I could work with that. I could work with that.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, because that is that would be interesting to see if he actually got picked at 13 or something like that. But if they know what's happening, maybe they could find a way to get him later on. So we'll see.
Let's put it this way: if they took him at 13, especially if a guy like Latham or even is it Fuaga or Falga from Oregon State, like those 2 guys, I think would be ahead of where he is, where Mims is right now. I definitely would rather see those guys at 13. But again, if they want to trade back and pick up more picks and whatnot, then I think Mims would be an interesting guy to bring in at this juncture.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it. Quick episode today. Not much to talk about on the Raiders news front. Everything. Maybe something will go crazy. It's April's Fool's Day, so somebody's gonna try to fool us maybe tomorrow. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Lab McConkey and Amarius Mims. I messed up names.
You got the hard one right and the easy one wrong.
I know, man. I know. All right. So yeah. So check that out, guys. Also, check out Friday Night Live. I did a little QB project thing on there. And then Cody Alexander. People are still checking that one out. That one's gonna last forever. That one lasts the whole summer, right? I mean, that goes through the summer. You can watch that 800 times. I mean, that's not like it's not gonna get old because the season hasn't even started yet, and it's like basically kind of our Patrick Graham preview. So you just get to watch it. Just watch it over and over again. You might find it in July. You might find it in June. That's Patrick Graham, his breakdown of what that defense could probably going to look like next season as well. So definitely go check that out. And like I said, guys, subscribe. We hit 2 million views total. So that's a milestone.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So like I said, we appreciate you guys coming and joining us. And if you're new here, subscribe. We're out. Peace.